Good morning, good morning, good morning. As you can see, it's a little warm where I am, hence I am vigorously fanning. Even with the fan on overhead, I am vigorously fanning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Getting It Done with Gratitude. I was thinking about our journey so far, and this month, as we are looking at productivity and we're looking at in the workplace and some other areas, teamwork and leadership, which we're going to touch on today, I thought to myself, I had not had the awareness of how huge gratitude was in really every single facet of life. And I am really so appreciative of the fact that I am actually doing this because it has really allowed me to pay attention to gratitude and how it shows up in everywhere if you allow it to and if you are looking for it. And so I really, really am quite excited again, to keep looking and keep discovering. I have a
Yeah.
very, very curious mind. So that goes for me. But I digress. I digress, ladies and gentlemen. I digress. My apologies. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We say it every week and we really mean it from the heart. Thank you for the support. We really, really feel it and it means the whole world to us. I am Karen Williams Thompson, your life and business strategist. And in a quick nutshell, because by now I'm hoping that most of you are people that are on the journey with us all the time. But for those joining us for the first time, I help women get super clear about what it is they really want. In fact, what I help them do is say yes to themselves and yes to their dreams. And we do this by getting totally clear on what is it that they truly, truly want. What's that call upon their heart? We look at what are the things that may be getting in their way. What may be some of the stories that they may have held on to and started to believe to be true that have really allowed them to stay in a place that they don't really want to be or they don't feel their fullest sense of fulfillment. And then we get to do the juicy bits. We get to create that plan, a plan designed by you based on your vision for your life. And that helps you to intentionally set goals and achieve them so that you get to live the life that you want by just saying yes to your dreams. And with me, I couldn't do this without her, is my friend Shelly Ann Edwards. Baron.
Hi.
Hey, Roger, sorry.
Hi, good morning, Karen. And as you mentioned, the all the nuances of gratitude and how it gets into our lives and so on. I I am on this journey and I am always fascinated about how impactful it is. I know it in my head, I know it in my heart, but when I see it in according to my daughters, when I see it in the wild, I am always you know blown away about how impactful it is. So thank you for those of you who are joining us on the live. We always appreciate you. Drop us a comment, tell us where you're viewing from. If you are looking at the replay, leave a comment as well. Tell us how this journey has impacted you as you follow along and engage with gratitude. And as Karen said, I'm all about gratitude, and so much so that I bill myself as a gratitude guide and habit coach because I help my clients identify the habits that they need to implement and develop the strategies for implementing those habits to help them accomplish their goals. And I believe that gratitude is a keystone habit. So we always begin and end with gratitude, so that gratitude is where you start. So if you're wondering, I have all these things I want to accomplish, where do I start? My advice is start with gratitude. And
Mhm.
if you're having some trouble figuring out how to do that, then drop me a line, send me a message, and we can have a chat. And certainly go back to the beginning, episode 1, if you haven't already seen all the other episodes, and you'd get a lot of ideas from there of how to begin. But today we're talking leadership. So it's not necessarily a beginning, but it's gratitude applied to a very important conversation about leaders and leadership, especially in the workplace, but in general, really. Um, and there are some quite interesting statistics about gratitude and leadership. It's it's one of those, yes, we know it, but what are we doing kind of scenarios.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know, in after the pandemic, we had what is now being dubbed, the Great Resignation. And one of the reasons for that Great Resignation is the idea that employees had the time to think and pause because of the pandemic and everybody was home. And many of them realized that A, they were in the wrong place, B, they weren't appreciated where they were and they weren't happy, and therefore, C, now is as good a time as any to make a change. And so it calls into question um, gratitude and leadership. Even though when I was doing research on this, they, let's see, I found this really awesome article. I'm going to put, um, it's one of the more current ones because I got statistics from like 2012, 2013, which said things like only 15% of people express gratitude on a regular basis at work, which is interesting when you consider um, the fact that people leave jobs because of, feeling lack of appreciation, not feeling appreciated. Yet still we're not expressing the gratitude as much as we should.
Hmm.
It has me wondering why. What are your initial thoughts on that?
Well, I had two thoughts that came up really. And one is that the 15% sounded rather low to me. I really thought that might have been a bit higher. But then on the other hand, when I think about leadership, having been in leadership all of my days in corporate, I kind of understand why that number may be so, because when you are in a leadership role, there are so many challenges, and depending on the industry that you are in, you are juggling so many things at the same time. So it means that as a leader, you will have to consciously make an effort. And if you are wanting to, meet deadlines, hit the KPIs, get the budgets, watch the margins, watch the inventory, sometimes something is going to slip. And often what slips will be the gratitude. And the other thing is, you are absolutely right. Recent surveys in workplaces are showing that that value, that not being heard and not being appreciated, is one of the biggest things for employees right now. And so,
Mhm,
everywhere employees are indicating that they they want to be seen. They want to be appreciated. They want to hear, not that I didn't do a good job, but they want to hear, thank you for being here and staying and working an extra hour and a half or whatever it is. People want to be appreciated. And you can understand why. We spend a lot of time at work. You
mhm,
spend a lot of time in that environment, in that space. And so, if it is that we can have persons really start to intentionally zone in on gratitude and how that might be, like for example, in communication, when you have team meetings and you are the leader, you can take time in each of those meetings to say, to highlight the things that have gone well, highlight the team members that have gone over and above, because that recognition and appreciation, it fosters more open communication. It also sends the message, I've been seen, I've been heard,
mhm,
and it tells other people who may have been sitting on the sidelines, oh, they are seen, they are appreciated. And so that's just one way there, like with communication. They're just little things that as leaders you can actually um, I want to say implement, insert, include one of those into your into your routine, into your day-to-day interactions with various teams. Because when I was in corporate and as a leader, I interfaced, while I had responsibility for some Fortune 500 brands, which was big on its own, I also still had to interface with different teams. So whether it was accounts, whether it was advertising, whether it was the warehouse. And so you really need to find a way to let that be a part of it. But that 15%, when you mentioned it
Yeah.
just now, that really did stick out for me. I did think it might be a little higher, but I kind of
Yeah,
understand
it
it.
is. I think now it's a little bit higher. I mean, that particular research was from like 2012, 2013.
Oh, okay.
I'm seeing that now we have it might be as much as like 35%. So there
Oh, that's
is
okay.
um
Hmm.
some indication
Moving.
that we're going in the
Hmm.
right direction, but this is still less than 50%. And this is still a huge, I mean, over 65% of
Yes,
employees
yes,
say that they
yes.
haven't received any recognition at all in a year. I mean, that kind of statistic is really jarring, considering all that. I mean, we're at episode 19, and we've been speaking about all the benefits of gratitude and how powerful it is. And
Hmm.
I mean, we don't even have to look too far to find additional statistics and information on the power of gratitude. Yeah, we have so many people going through an entire year at work and not feeling recognized. We had the great resignation because so many people, aren't feeling recognized or empowered
Or
in their
fulfilled.
job. And
Hmm.
and the thing is, um, one of the things you said just now, sort of, a sort of light bulb went off. In your response, you mentioned people who go above and beyond what their duties are. And I feel like that point is where we're missing some of the benefits of gratitude, because do we wait only for when someone goes above and beyond, or do we just tell them thank you for showing up and being consistent and actually just doing their job?
Hmm.
I feel like that is where the issue is, which is why so many employees don't get recognized, because they're turning up and they're doing their job. They're keeping within work parameters. They're keeping within what is expected of them. But
That's such
it's
a good
almost
point.
as if you do what's expected of you, you're not going to be recognized.
That is such a powerful point. And, I can only speak from the Caribbean context in terms of work and being in different work environments and so on. But that is so very, very true. I'm really glad that you raised that point, because often we think that persons should only be recognized because of that extra. But really and truthfully, every business, the greatest resource that they have are the people that are there. And those people are helping somebody build their dream. Sometimes you're building your own, but you are also helping somebody else build their dream. And just
Hmm.
being recognized for being a consistent supporter. In other words,
Yeah.
I know that this person is going to show up every single day. They have been working here for 5, 10 years, and they've never missed a day yet. That person is somebody that also needs to be recognized, even if it is that at 5 o'clock they say, okay, everyone, gotta go. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
you have to
You
take, and I really think we need to be recognized for what persons may consider your role, or what's expected. I think that
Mhm.
the recognition needs to be broader band. But when you think about a leader too, think about leaders also. They can show that gratitude when they have to deal with things like conflict resolution, because we talked
Yeah.
about things like this in previous episodes, and how you go into this. Your gratitude then shows up in your ability as a leader to listen, to be present to what is happening, and to be able to hear. And just by giving each person the opportunity to be heard is going to allow whatever that conflict was to dissipate.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
in that moment, just by being the vehicle that's going to say, okay, let's just hear what everyone, has to say, give everyone the opportunity to really express themselves. It shows that you have a solution oriented mindset, that you don't want to
Yes.
focus on the problem, but you want to focus on the solution. And that is another way that leaders can show gratitude and can live gratitude in their role as a leader. Because when they're able to do that, their role actually becomes easier, because they
Yes.
have
And
they
that's
yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I tell you that article, I put the link in the comments so that
Hmm.
everyone can, get a good read of it. It's one of those really the kinds of articles I love. Large headings, point form so that you can scan the details. Um, but what it says is that, let me see, 64%, 5%. Employees that receive regular recognition are up to 8 times more engaged.
I
And
believe that.
we've been talking a lot about millennials in the workplace. So those who are into, um, you know, human resources and, leadership and so on would understand that, the discussion around millennials is like in every facet of life. Those are the employees currently now in the positions where companies are affected most through their, attitudes, behaviors, and so on. Um, Millennials need more frequent recognition than other cohorts. That's another, survey
Isn't
statistic.
that I find that so amazing because millennials are like, yeah, let's do this. We got to do this now, and everything is on the pace. But yet they really want that. I find that so interesting that they really want you to, as they would
Yep.
say, big them up and
Yeah.
show that you
Yep.
see them and that you understand and that that they appreciate it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and I
very
feel like
interesting.
part I guess it's because of a more relaxed, engaged sort of employee style. So yes, they are on the, let's get it done, but it's let us get it done. So there's more focus on us and community and networking and engagement and story and all these aspects of um, interaction. These are more in, under the spotlight these days. And so it's kind of logical when you think about it. If people are so focused on story and engaging and, understanding who you are, and, there's a more sort of personable kind of interaction in the workplace now. It's a little bit more relaxed than it used to be. It stands to reason that, we're talking, I expect that you see me, and therefore, if I feel like if you're not seeing me, then, we might have an issue. And what I also thought about, just quickly before I know you want to jump in, um, I really want to look at what that recognition and what is required, what it looks like, because I feel like additional part of the problem of lack of recognition is that many leaders and employers feel like it has to be tangible, and therefore it's
Yes.
going to cost the company at a time when cost is being cut every which way.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. And that's another good point. So you really loaded this morning
Yeah.
because in a recent survey that I had the opportunity to be a part of, one of the questions asked, and this organization has a significant number of millennials. The more than half of the workforce are millennials in that age group. And
Mhm.
one of the questions was, what are some of the things that they, would be ideal for them in the workplace? And no one mentioned money. People, the biggest things were flexibility of time. It was being recognized. It was having extra days, like extra days off. There were all these other things that were non-tangible that when you look at them,
Mhm.
you had, and it was so glaring for me because I was really looking for, some more of the tangible stuff, but by far the intangible stuff is what was asked for. The recognition was big, the flexibility was big, communication was also big. Talk to us, tell us what's going on. They want to feel included and a part of whatever the vision and the strategy is. They want to feel included. And as leaders, if we want the best from our teams, we need to include them. When they understand the story, when they understand the vision, when they understand what it is you are seeking to achieve, and you
Yes.
have their buy in, listen, that is 50% of your job taken care of one time. So being included is such a big thing. So people,
Yes.
they want that as well. So you're spot on. The intangibles are way bigger for them than the monetary gains.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And just for the sake of those who may have heard the term millennials and still aren't too clear what age bracket that is, we're talking about people 25 to 40, right? Who are making up a good percentage of the workforce currently. So it's
Mhm.
so then we're talking leadership, and I actually also came across more than a few articles which said um, gratitude is an important leadership quality. There was one
Absolutely.
article which said gratitude is your most powerful leadership skill. And yet we have these statistics of so many people not feeling grateful, not feeling, well, appreciated. So they have not heard thank you or have not felt their leaders saying or doing or just including and creating um, an atmosphere of gratitude in the workplace. And this is why gratitude is not something that should be taken lightly. It is something that should be fostered as a habit. And I keep saying, gratitude is a keystone habit, and it has to come to a point of being a habit. And that's something that I feel like is part of the issue as well, because we look at gratitude, and this is even more evidence in my book that most people, regardless of all the research that has been done on gratitude, most people still look at gratitude as something that you express when there's the extra, when there's something more, when, there's something out of the ordinary,
Mhm.
when gratitude should be an aspect of daily life. And I mean, now even more than ever, I think, um, with the fact that, people are showing up to work in a volatile kind of climate,
Mhm.
there are people who are working through um, all kinds of challenges coming out of the pandemic that has, sort of made everything feel more urgent, make it feel more um I'm hesitating and I'm stumbling because it's like so many ideas running around in my mind. I wish we
I
had two
know.
hours to talk about this.
I know, I know. I can actually feel that energy from you. But
Yeah.
while you gather your thoughts, because they're going to come back, I always believe they make a full circle. When we were becoming leaders within the organization, gratitude was never something that was even mentioned. Some would say that perhaps it's something that people would expect you to know. But in the same way that we speak about emotional intelligence, in the same way that we speak about positive IQ, in the same way that we speak about these soft skills that really enhance the whole leadership experience,
Mhm.
I think the
Ooh, I
conversations
like
now
that.
have
Gratitude
to
is a soft skill.
include the
I'm gonna
the
write that down.
you're welcome, you're welcome. We have to start including gratitude as one of the criteria that embodies what leadership really looks like, what it is, because you have, as leaders, you are responsible for motivating and having an engaging team. You are responsible for delegating, and how you do these things is what's really going to make the difference. So, when people feel valued and appreciated, the payoff is that they are more motivated. When they're more motivated, they're going to give you more. Their productivity is going to be high. So we come in full circle to the productivity that we are discussing.
Yes.
When you're letting people know that, okay, I trust you, I'm going to let you, you go ahead, you take the lead on this one, you do it. People realize, oh my goodness, they trust. They again,
Mhm.
that is an
Mhm.
act of gratitude, but the message is so much bigger than that. Because when you are doing that, you are saying to them, I trust you to handle this task. And they also know that that leader is there in the background, like how you see the mother eagle, and she pushes the baby out of the nest to go and find their food, etc. But the minute she sees that something's going to happen, what does she do? She leaves that nest and she swoops down, and she is there to support, to encourage. And that really is how leaders need to see themselves, as that
Mhm.
as that
Mhm.
eagle. So letting go, but still being there for that support. And that's part of the message there in gratitude. So
Yes.
there's a lot to do, and I agree with
Very
you.
much so.
These 30 minutes can't do this
Yeah,
particular topic
listen, I'm
justice.
like, because
So
when
clearly we could be heading out of time soon.
but listen, we need to do a workshop, gratitude as a soft skill. I think we need to add that to our list because
Oh.
um I and I think we're like that because you continued and added in some of the things that I was trying to articulate, you know, because it's really something that it has to be deliberate. It has to
Hmm.
be intentional. And we've been saying that over and over again with gratitude. And just as with, I discovered, and I'm saying discovered, even though it's like one of those duh kind of moments, when we talk about mindset, and mindset is your attitudes and beliefs that sort of guide behavior. We think of
Hmm.
mindset as this big chunk, but really and truly, every facet of life, when you're looking at things individually, there's a mindset for everything individually. So
Yeah.
while we tend to, take things in chunks and talk about mindset and attitude and gratitude and all these things, we really do need to get into those nuances if we want to change what's happening. We have to start with the actions and the small bits that are actionable, and therefore we need to be intentional. We need to kind of like break it down. And it's the same with gratitude. We have to break it down and look at how does gratitude apply in this situation. So that
Hmm.
while we are talking about gratitude in general and we are trying to touch on, little things and different aspects of gratitude, and I don't think we'll ever run out of things to talk about because there's gratitude in every single aspect of life. Um, if we really want to get it done with gratitude, we have to pause, pay attention, and focus on specific situations and contexts. And so it always, every time we come near the end of these discussions, and we're at 30 minutes now, so I'm going to be just wrapping up and leave you with the final word this time. Um, it's it's really about pausing, taking the moment to recognize and appreciate and then acting on that. So we write back at saying it right, saying it loud, saying it always.
Hmm.
And in this case, we're talking about leadership.
Absolutely, absolutely, and absolutely again. And as we bring it to a close, I want us to just maybe just go away and reflect on the pivotal role that gratitude really plays in leadership and what is the ripple effect of that in your workplace and even beyond the walls or the spaces of your workplace. Because
Mhm,
when you are intentional about gratitude and you're fostering that open communication, you are promoting trust and you're building trust, but you are also, promoting that open engagement as a grateful leader, that just creates an environment where team members feel valued, where they feel motivated, and that in its turn then helps you achieve the very objectives that you are in business to achieve. And
mhm,
I wanted to also mention before we signed off this morning is that we talked about leadership and we really focus in the workplace. But the most important person that you will ever lead is yourself. And
yeah.
so
Oh,
always, I always ask you, treat yourself and speak to yourself with graciousness, with kindness, because you lead yourself and it starts with us, each of us. So who we are is who we're taking into the workplace. And so before I wind up again and get all going, because that could take me in another tangent that I love, we are going we are going to say, as I like to say, we're going to love you and leave you here on that note. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for joining us live this morning. Thank you
yes, yes, yes.
for checking out our episodes on YouTube. Spread the word. If you've enjoyed what you've seen and the discussion that you've heard, do share your thoughts and comments, but also share the session with someone. Let us just spread the awareness so that together
Mhm.
we can all get it done with gratitude. Have a
All right.
wonderful, wonderful day.
Take care, everybody. Bye bye.